Welcome to Vegan Pastry Lessons. I'm Alessia, I'm a professional vegan pastry chef, and here you'll learn how to make amazing desserts without any animal ingredients. So if you love classical or modern pastry and want to bake cruelty-free, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Today we are going to make a vegan apple Sbrisolona, a rustic Italian crumble cake that is rich, fragrant and super crumbly. Of course, this version is completely vegan, so without eggs and without butter. We won't be using any unusual ingredients, so everything in this recipe is simple and accessible, so you probably already have everything in your kitchen. What makes this Sbrisolona special is the layer of apples inside. So the apple bakes slowly between the crumbs, becoming soft and juicy, adding natural sweetness and a delicate moisture that perfectly balance the crunchy, sandy texture of the crumbs. The result, as you can see, is a dessert that is a bit rustic, but it's full of flavor and super easy to make. Okay, let's start.
First, let's prepare the apples. Wash and peel 2 apples, then cut each apple into quarters, remove the core and cut each quarter into 3 pieces. From there, cut them into small cubes. Transfer the apples into a bowl and mix them with cane sugar. This will help the apples release some of their juices while we prepare the rest of the recipe. Now, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius with fan. Next, let's prepare the crumble dough. In a food processor, add the hazelnut and pulse until you get a coarse powder. You don't want a very fine flour, just a slightly coarse texture that will give more flavor and texture to the cake. Just be careful not to blend them for too long, otherwise the hazelnut will start releasing their oils and the mixture will become greasy instead of nicely sandy. Then I'll do the dry ingredients of flour, baking powder, salt, powdered sugar and cane sugar. Blend everything for about 30 seconds to 1 minute until the mixture is evenly combined and has a sandy texture. Now add the cold vegan butter cut into cubes. Blend again until the mixture starts coming together and forming larger crumbs. Transfer the mixture into a bowl and briefly work it with your hands just until the dough becomes homogeneous. It shouldn't be smooth like a pastry dough, it should still feel crumbly. Now let's assemble the Italian Sbrisolona. Prepare a baking tray lined with a perforated silicone mat or parchment paper and place an 18 cm ring mold on top. Lightly grease the inside of the ring with vegan butter spray or simply use a little vegan butter and spread it with a brush or even your finger. Now we create the base using the traditional method. Instead of pressing or rolling out the dough, we crumble it directly into the ring. This is what gives the cake its characteristic rustic and crumbly texture. Use about 325 grams of the crumble dough and distribute it evenly over the base, covering the entire bottom without pressing it down. Next, add about 180 grams of apple mixed with the sugar and spread them evenly over the crumble layer. If the apples have released some liquid in the bowl, don't add that part, just leave it behind or lightly drain the apples before adding them. Then crumble the remaining dough on top. This should be about 190 grams. And again, just let it fall naturally without pressing it. Add another 60 grams of apple on top. Finally, finish with about 35 grams of roughly chopped hazelnuts sprinkled over the surface. Now, bake this Sbrisolona in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius with fan for about 30 minutes or until the top becomes nicely golden. Once baked, remove it from the oven and let it cool for about 1 hour at room temperature. Then carefully remove the ring. At this stage, the cake will still be quite delicate because it's warm, so when transferring it, be careful. I like to slide 2 spatulas underneath and move it onto a serving plate this way, supporting it from both sides. After transferring it, place it in the fridge for about 2 to 3 hours so it can cool completely and firm properly. This will help the crumble become nice and crisp. If you have enough space in the fridge, an easier option is to place the whole tray in the refrigerator first, let the cake chill for a few hours and then transfer it once it's fully firm. Finish with a light dusting of powdered sugar on top. And now let's cut a slice. As you can see, the texture is beautifully crumbly and rustic, while the apples inside are soft and juicy. This contrast between the crispy crumble and the tender apple filling is exactly what makes this vegan apple Sbrisolona so delicious. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next recipes. And I'll see you in the next video.